thing. We have a couple of cool outlets that I had some conversations with this week. Some of them are actually so big that I'm like, I don't know if I really deserve to be here. Well, I'm not quite
Hey,
there
you ain't
yet.
telling nobody though. You just fake it till you make it.
Right, but some of it is also because like it could bring me so much business that I don't have the time to properly grow. And a couple of the lessons I'm learning right now is just making sure that all your ducks are in a row.
Right.
Make sure everything is set, because make sure that the people you work with have the same vision as you. They know what you want, and that's some of the difficult things that come along with this position where it's like, okay, we're making things happen, but at the same time too, like I'm very much so a keep the client, make them happy type of person, and at the same time too, like not everybody thinks that same way.
Right.
And I also like, one of the difficulties for me is this working from home thing. I really don't like it. I don't like it because it's hard to keep everybody accountable for what they're supposed to be doing, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure when the opportunity comes, I'm ready to meet it, because I don't want no big client to come and talk to me, and then everybody that's supposed to be doing their jobs is not,
Right.
And there's other difficulties that come along with that too, like some of our key people stepping out for a little bit, and it's like, oof, it makes things difficult, so
Yeah, it's really important to understand what you can and can't handle.
yeah, oh, man.
That's like one of the keys, I think, for people to be successful. Like successful people tend to know what their limits are, and they're really honest with themselves as far as like what they can do and what they can't do. And what I've noticed is successful people are really good at saying no.
Yeah, they're good at saying no, and when to say no.
Right.
Because like there's a lesson that I learned a few years ago. I was working at a college, and I had these ideas on growth. I was like, yo, we seem to be having issues on growing this campus. I have an idea. We can take this from X amount of students. Let's say it's 100 students. My idea can take us from 100 to 250 for sure. And I presented it, and the campus president was just like, yeah, that will work, but I don't want to do it. And I, at the time, was like, what? And he was like, we are a very slow growing, slow moving campus. We don't have everything that it takes to house 250 students. We don't have the teachers for it. We don't have the space for it. We don't have that. So right now, it's all about making sure we have a predictable pattern of business for a while, for like the next 10 years. And I was like,
Yeah, because I think a lot of people just feel like it's all go, 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 but you got to really build that foundation, really know,
Yeah.
What you're capable of at 100%, right? Because once you know what you're capable of at 100%, then you could realize, okay, what my 80% will look like, what my 90% will look like. Because if you think your 100% is at a certain point, but that's what somebody expects at 80, 90%, and then you water yourself down even more, then you start looking really funky, and it could mess up your whole thing. Yeah. I've done it too. When I was running my own business, I got a little bit hot, doing really, really well. Start feeling yourself. But once you start doing well, that's when more opportunities come. But if you're not like you could be doing well without really still being where it's like muscle memory that you could still do well, right?
Right.
And so it still takes a lot of energy. It still takes a lot of work. But then it gets to a point where once you master it, it becomes easier to put out the same type of production, right?
Right.
Like just like working out, right? It gets easier to lift a certain weight once you've done it more and more times. But if you start adding weight before you've gotten to that point, then you start to struggle again. I think that's one thing to understand. And one thing that I've gotten better at personally is just being able to say no and be like, you can't take every opportunity that comes your way. You really got to focus on what's important to you.
Yeah, and that's important. And just like that whole working out thing that you said, like imagine being able to lift that new weight. You have to take that period of time to lift that new weight.
Right.
Even though I can do it, that's not a sign to say go to the next level immediately. Well, can you do it 10 times? Can you do it 12 times? Or can you do it so much to the point where like
it feels like a lower weight?
Yeah, exactly.
Used to feel for you.
And then we're gonna take more.
Right.
And that more, just because now you've mastered that 245 plates, that next level you're gonna have a bigger jump.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you put 10 more pounds onto it, it's just gonna be like, oh, that's not a lot. You know, but then if you put a 25 plate on there, you start really
feeling it.
Yeah. So it's just like that's where we are right now. Every day is a new lesson. You know, every day is a new lesson. There's a lot of frustrations that come with it.
Yeah.
And that's why even when I was speaking to these publications, like one of the really big ones, I was like, I don't actually think I'm ready for this. And they were surprised to hear that. Because, of course, everybody wants to be on this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just am not there. Like, I know I have this opportunity, and it's crazy that I'm speaking to you. But if you give me this shot, and then Walmart comes to me and says, yo, we need 10 commercials, I can't do it. It's not that I can't do it. Like, I can. But we just don't have the infrastructure to make it seamless.
Right.
And it will become very difficult. So maybe in 6 months, we could be there.
And that's tough because maybe that opportunity isn't there in 6 months, but you just have to have faith that something else will be there.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
Right.
You know, if it's not Walmart. But and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Right.
Like I remember a few years ago, I booked a TV show. And I did the TV show, and my very next audition, it was another TV show, but it was to be a lead, like the main character. The main character who they had dropped out last second.
Okay.
And it was a sports show. At the time, I was super fit, and I booked it on the spot. They called my agent. By the time I got to the car, my agent was like, "We're shooting in 2 days."
Wow.
And my mom called me and was like, yo, I need you to come to Florida. And I was like, what's up? She said she was sick, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff happened. I went back into the casting room that same moment. The moment I booked it live, and I walked right back in there, and I was like, yo, my mom is sick. I need to go to Florida. Can we push the shoot a couple days? They said no. They had rented a school. They spent all this money, and they were like, the only reason you're here is because the main guy did this exact thing. So I called my agent, and I was like, my mom is sick. I need to go to Florida right now, tomorrow. And she was like, another opportunity will come. No biggie.
That's dope.
And I was like, whoa. This is like a lot of money, because it was like 12 episodes like that.
Wow. And
each one is like 30 grand.
Wow.
So I was like, I can't even believe my agent is saying that. But I'm on a hot streak.
Right.
I did a TV show. This is my next one. In my head, I was like, I'm about to book again.
Right.
Like, as soon as I come back, I'll book another one. Man, I never booked. That was like 8 years ago.
Wow.
So sometimes it doesn't come. Or it takes a long time. Like, look at Dave Chappelle. His opportunity took like 10 years.
Right.
You know, so.
And look, sometimes when it takes that long, the peak is much higher. You know what I mean? So like Dave Chappelle taking that long, understanding and maybe being like used by the industry in the way that he did, gave him the lessons to where when he did get his show and he realized, hey, this isn't what I want it to be, he had the understanding to walk away. And because he is already found happiness without the industry, he could walk away from it, come back, and even be bigger because of it. Now he gets to call all the shots, right?
Right.
And it's all because of that just
minutia or whatever they
call it. I think it's just more understanding, and it's like he has a life outside of it, right? And I think that's what's really important. A lot of times what we do becomes who we are, and that could be dangerous, especially because sometimes things are up and down. We see it, like, we were talking, we didn't get to it last week, but, we talked a little bit about mental health and with some of these athletes. And you notice that sometimes these athletes, when the sport gets taken away from them, they start getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because something that,
They
or
feel
even
like they lost purpose.
yeah, even like actors that the show gets canceled or whatever. It's like that thing that was you is gone. Now it's like, who am I?
That's kind of what happened with COVID. Because imagine all the people that lost their jobs, right? And then they're like sitting at home, gaining weight, depressed, sad, and you don't even realize.
Have time to think.
Not only that too, right? Like you have the time to think. You have time to learn about your spouse.
Yeah.
Who you're like, damn, I don't even know if I like them.
Right.
Right. But people who go to work every day, they feel like they're lost in their job. Like, oh, I just,
hate it.
Yeah, I don't like it. And I wish I could be at home more. Mm-hmm. But then you get what you wish for.
Right.
And then that sucks.
You're like, dang, I need to get back to work.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And then you're like, oh, shoot. Like, everybody has purpose.
Right.
The search for purpose is not even one that you have to put thought into, because your own mind will eventually just be like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What did you do today?
Yeah.
It takes a while. Like, you could go 6 months chilling
mm-hmm.
and feel completely fine. Then one day you wake up and then you're just like, whoa.
And it's crazy how much like one could gain or lose in that time period, right? I've been realizing like, so when I moved to California, it was kind of like a restart for me. That was about like 2 years ago or whatnot. And I think I had like this moment sometime last week where I was like, dang, like I've come a long way. And it was more not just necessarily like financially and where I was in life, but just like emotionally. I realized I was like, man, like, like I'm not as down as I ever used to be in the past. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm never down now. And like things are going well. Like what we're doing here, I think is awesome.
Right.
The stuff with the YouTube channel, the communities I build, like it's just like stuff that I do tends to go well. Mm-hmm. When you get in those things where you're just like, wow, everything kind of is like just going good.
Yeah,
and
you
just like kind of notice it. And you're like, this is new. and it's
how'd
like,
I get here?
And I remember I've had moments like this in my past, but sometimes you just think it, you think it's all you, and you end up like getting arrogant about it. At least me personally, I got arrogant about it, cocky, and all this kind of stuff. And then it gets taken away, and it's just like, yo, what happened? Thinking back, I'm just like, wow, you took things for granted, like instead of just enjoying the moment or realizing what caused you to be successful, right? And like now, I think, if when I get to a level of success that I'm looking for, I feel like I'll be able to appreciate it more, sustain it longer, and it'll be something that's like stationary just because of the way I'll be able to handle it, and also the understanding that you get to the point of how to be successful.